So, in this episode, we are talking about generative AI and all its very tangy matters. In this particular episode, we'll deep dive into the impact of generative AI on industry, use cases, future trends, and jobs of tomorrow. And I am extremely pleased to be hosting one such gentleman who is an entrepreneur with an experience of building about 5 companies, 12 products, and running businesses from scratch. Managing 500 member team across TC Group in 3 countries and bootstrapping a company called Tech Curators to 14 ARR. Keen interest he has in understanding problems and opportunities and presenting innovative solutions. He is currently the country head and managing director of Tech Curators, which is a TC Group company. And without further ado, we would love to go ahead and speak with none other than Harneet. So, Harneet, absolute welcome to this particular episode with me today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Varsha. Doing really great, and even more great after hearing good introduction of mine and your whole, description. So great to be here, and would love to share the insights about this buzzword Gen AI.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Arnie, before we even deep dive into Gen AI, there are plenty of people out there who are interested about technology but still can't wrap their head against what generative AI is. So, to start with, can you explain in very simple terms what generative AI is and why has it suddenly seemed to be a game changer in the tech industry?
So let's start from the beginning, from the very old times. See, when computers came, Industrial Revolution. The first thing which computers were capable to do better than humans was storage. If your brain can store X amount of data, a file can store Y amount of data, a computer can store Z amount of data, right? So with the start of that CDs, floppy disk, that was, I say, the first revolution where computers were able to store, right? That is the storage capacity which gave computers an edge over humans. Second thing came where computers can also compute basically, and that's where the name computers came from, that they can compute. So you have a data, if you have a file, you can't go back and search for employee data or marks data of students, right? You have to go through every single page. But if you store data in a structured manner in a computer, then you can perform computations over that. So that came the second superpower of computers, which is compute. Then third, I would say, is the regular AI, where computers became more intelligent. Machines became more intelligent, where they can diagnose and predict. That was the regular machine learning. Now, so far, human is the most powerful person or powerful species in the whole universe because of their ability of creation. And why even we say God as the creator, right? Because creation, generation is something which is like super powerful. Animals are not capable of doing that. Humans, we are capable of generating more languages. You take example of Shakespeare. He created whole new set of words in the language called English, right? And there are so many examples. This was the superpower which was only residing with the humans out of all the species out there. But now computers are capable for generation as well. What they can generate? They can generate code, they can generate simple language like me and you are speaking. Similarly, a bot can generate this language. Since the third revolution, which I was saying, bots can only narrate what has been told to them. But now they can compute, they have stored data, they can process it just like human mind processes information, and then they can generate new pieces of information. And another thing is they can learn from their previous generation, which is a technical concept called reinforced learning, where an AI model can also learn from the feedback, which is again very humanly thing. So these two powers combined, one they can generate, two they can learn from their mistakes, I guess makes AI more human or humans more vulnerable. So that's generative AI.
That's such an awesome explanation, to be very honest. I think a 6-year-old can also benefit from what you just explained. But anyway, moving forward, would want to understand further from you as what do you think are some of the most impressive examples of generative AI as you've seen in the action recently? And the reason I'm talking about examples in the very beginning of our conversation is because I think humans understand a lot more better if you give them analogies and examples. So please teach us through examples and analogies the impressive actions you've seen recently.
Okay, great. Okay, so see, I'll take some example of the things which have been done by humans and then the things which generative AI is capable of doing. Let's take an example of school, which is like very everybody understands the school and the teaching style. So in those 12, 14, 15 years of education, you get one teacher and probably 40 students, 50 students to a range of 200 students. Even after paying the best of best fees and affording the most expensive schools, you still can't get personalization at scale. What I mean by personalization, will a teacher and can a teacher and a student ratio be 1:1? So ideally, it happens in a generic scenario. It happens pre AI scenario. A teacher is teaching, and you have some input from the teacher when you are taking some doubts. The teacher does not have time to personally understand the capability, the skill level of 40, 50, 100 students in his or her class. But generative AI can act as a personal learning tutor. For example, I'll give you an example. If I you are teaching 8th class science to me, right, and you are teaching me about let's say Newton's laws of motion. So you give me certain prompt. Okay, Newton's first law says this thing. Then you ask me questions personally, whatever you have taught me. Then you ask me even more questions, and basis my answer. It's like a chatbot scenario. You can say it can also be transmitted to voice. Basis my answers, you tell me what to study next, where I'm failing. So it's a guided, personalized uh, teaching which is possible. This is one use case, and this is something which we at Tech Curators are also building for organizations in e-learning and edtech organizations where personalization can happen at scale, right? So everybody can afford a personal AI tutor. Second thing is skill. That AI will also be really skilled, right? We can't if I am hiring 100,000 teachers for a country or for a state, I can't say all of them will be really skilled at teaching what they are teaching. But AI can do it very effectively in a very personalized manner and at scale. So this is one of the most. So if I would be in school this time, I guess I'd be really excited to learn this thing faster. And I believe, probably 5, 10 years down the line, the whole concept of having grades in classes will go away, where you have your personalized AI tutors and you have certain skill parameters. Once you cross that, I guess you are proficient enough. So the whole concept of school, I believe, is here for reinvention. That's one use case. Another quick use case I'll tell you is customer experience. So customer experience is, let's say you buy some product from an Amazon, and then you talk to their customer support. You have some problem regarding your product after sales. So today, the boards which are there, either they have to deploy a lot of humans who are answering your calls in a very robotic manner, and secondly, the process is very slow and it's also expensive for the companies. But with Gen AI, you have bots who can be trained to speak like humans, to think like humans, to argue like humans, and actually help you get your answer faster. So I don't have to depend, if I don't have to wait. If I call a customer care center, I don't have to wait. I can get everything at my disposal 24/7 without disturbing a human, and the experience becomes smoother for me and more efficient for the business. So these are the two use cases which can be very relatable, and you multiply it across Zomato, Swiggy, Myntra, Amazon, right? Or even you buy a course from some website, you want some assistance regarding that. So all of that can be heavily automated through Gen AI, improving the customer experience and business efficiency at the same time.
Got it. Thank you so much on sharing those particular insights. It was really helpful. So, how is generative AI changing the day-to-day operations in sectors like finance, HR, healthcare, and education? Because as much as we have understood, people in these spaces have a lot of tasks that they ideally want should have been automated years back. And since the invention or the intrusion of generative AI in our day-to-day tasks, essentially for a student when they are pulling off cloud or let's say chat gpt or Gemini. For them, it's like there is a chatbot. I will ask them a question and they'll get an answer for me. But how about using industrial generative AI in these particular sectors?
Yeah. So there are various use cases. I guess the first and best use case, which most of the people are doing, which also happens in our organization, is drafting your mails. So people are using GPT the most for drafting emails. So that is the best use case. But having said that, on a bigger note, I guess all the roles which earlier required a lot of thinking, creativity, as well as analysis, and hence required humans, are now getting impacted by AI. So if you see in finance, the one of the things which is happening is this credit risk models, where you require humans for every stage of data analysis. Now a lot of these analysis is done by GPT tools, and finally the thing is presented in a very concise manner, and you need humans for just 10% of the activity. In the same case, recruitment, HR, if I ask, so we ourselves have started using Gen AI for conducting first round of interviews and interview scheduling. So prior to this world, Gen AI world, what used to happen was an HR or a recruiter will used to call an interviewer and then confirm their slots, and then used to call tens and thousands of candidates and confirm their interview slots, and then arrange the calls, gather basic information regarding their current location, their CTC, their expectations, their availability, their skill set, and gathering their resume, all that stuff. Now it is done completely through generative AI. So we ourselves are using, bots who call the candidate, who call the interviewer, get this basic information, record this information in our CRM, and the next process happens. So our interviewers, our HR, our people are used for more productive interview, and the regular information can be taken through Gen AI. So yes, these are some of the examples which are very handy today, and this is happening at very fast scale. Big, small organizations, everybody is using it.
Got it, got it. Awesome. So, have you ever come across anything on an exciting and a very unexpected ways that companies have been using these generative AIs? Like, do you have such stories for us?
So uh, basically, I'll take I'll answer this question by telling a very interesting theory which happened in the past, and will draw an analogy to how people are using AI right now. So if you know how California is made, so California, the modern day California, it also hosts Silicon Valley, San Francisco, right? So if you go to 1800s, it was just a forest, it was a jungle, there was no civilization over there. And some people went there, and there was a news that there is gold. People found gold over there, and after that there is huge rush which happened. People from all over the world migrated to California in the US and settled there, and they were mining gold, they were looking for gold. So whole of this period from 1850s to 1900s is called as the gold rush, right? So a lot of researchers, and that is also the reason how modern day California is built. A lot of civilization, a lot of diverse people have come and settled over there from all parts of Europe and other parts of the world. People with capital, people with ambitions went to California and they mined gold. Now there are researchers, there have been a lot of research studies from various universities of that period, which they call as gold rush, that who are the people who became most successful, gained the most out of it. So the first guess would be the people who were mining gold, but the answer is not this. So over a span of 30, 40 years, the people who became most rich in the gold rush were not the people who were mining gold, but the people who were selling axes and shovels. Because see, if 1,000 people are going for hunting gold, for mining gold, all of them require infrastructure, all of them require access, shovels, machinery, labor to dig. Irrespective of whether they find gold or not, they will invest money there, right? They will invest their money there. So all those 1,000 people will contribute to spending population for buying the infrastructure. And maybe out of those 1,000 people, 10 people end up getting gold. So I believe similar thing is going to happen in the AI as well. So the people, I don't know how much AI will be successful in completely automating and all that stuff, but people who are selling this AI hype or creating products to support companies to adopt AI will be the ones who become the most rich.
So you are saying the functional utility of AI remains in the fact or remain in the hands of people who are successful in creating a hype rather than the ones who actually put them to use.
That's true. That happens every time a gold rush happens, right? Since every big organization and it's their CEOs themselves come and say, all Fortune 500 companies, that we are afraid of this fact that we don't want to leave behind in this race of AI. So they'll spend a hell lot of money to give it to McKinsey's and BCG's and Accentures and Infosys of the world to figure out a plan for them. And even the money spent in making out the plan for them can actually exceed the money they will save by implementing AI in the long run. It can happen. Nobody knows it. So, but what's in it for us? If we are talking to developer community, if you are talking to founder community, if you're talking to startups, what's in it for us? So for us, we should realize that we should not just be blindly building AI tools, but creating real solutions and enabling industry to adopt it. And this also brings me to the thing that the people who are building this will be successful and they will create the jobs of tomorrow, right? Successful businesses will be the ones who will employ the workforce of tomorrow. And the kind of, maybe we'll cover it later in the section, that what kind of jobs will emerge, because whatever will be the industry trend, it also defines the kind of jobs that will be created in the economy. So how people, so that is for sure. Even when the online commerce was coming, right, people thought that retail will go away, retail will die, but that's not the case. Everything coexists. So with Gen AI and this, I say it, the fourth revolution, the AI revolution, it's just that the AI will become more intelligent and humans will become more efficient. So AI is borrowing intelligence from humans, and humans are using efficiency of AI. So AI will be more powered through human feedback and through human creativity and through human data. But humans will also become more productive. They can also become superhumans with the usage of this. As with industrial revolution, people who were digging things from hand. So it's a very similar analogy. What is happening right now is, right now you were a human, you were a, let's say you were digging a mine and you were using axes and shovels. So it depends on your physical stamina, your capacity, how much longer you can work, all those things which will define the success in your job. And you will become a superstar employee by mining the most in a day using the axes and shovels. And it takes a significant amount of skill and power to operate an axe, right? To dig that mine. Let's say a JCB comes in, a crane comes in. Now you just need to sit on that seat and know how to drive that crane to probably do 10 times more excavation in the same day. And even so, you see, the people who are driving these cranes, they are not the most bodybuilder ones, or not the people with the most stamina or most physical strength. But with the help of cranes, just operating cranes, they can do probably 20 times more time than a very strong person can do. So similar analogy is there for software developers versus AI powered software developers, right? In the olden days, they have to code things from scratch. They have to take care of DevOps. They have to take care of a lot of things in order to make a software production ready. Now, one, the software will have more demands. Two, the methods to achieve that will be changed. So people who adapt very fast kind of will become AI powered engineers, AI powered humans, or they can actually become superhumans, super employees in their industry, whichever industry they are.
Awesome, awesome. Lovely hearing about all these perspectives that Gen AI industry is bringing to the layman's market. But now let's deep dive a little bit and understand if generative AI is a powerful tool, but it also does come with some ethical concerns, right? Since you already talked about it. So, how should companies address these to avoid the misuses? Can we talk about the ethical concerns? Because all that we are talking about is how it is beneficial in today's market, how people can automate, what are the intangible benefits it is going to bring us. Speak to
Yeah,
us and give us a distinction about what are these certain things that we should be concerned about from the very beginning.
yeah. So, two, three ethical concerns. One of them, which everybody says, is data privacy, right? Second is, I'll also elaborate them. Second is IP infringement. Third is, you know, uh, lack of basically ownership of who owns who. So, and fourth concern is again cybersecurity attacks and threats, which can happen when somebody gives access to of their network, their data to these models. So, if I go, what is data privacy? How it is harmed? Let's say you are a university who is creating exams and you use this model, for your professors use it, and you are creating this exam by using that. Now that AI is also, you are giving all your prompts or your inputs to that AI, it has become much more smarter. And this, if this AI is open source, this model is open source, someone else can also use it and get answers for your questions which you have generated, or whatever work you have done through AI, they can also get access to that. So nothing remains confidential. And it can lead to huge losses. First loss, biggest loss is in academics, right? Where your learning of the youth will stop. Second is companies have confidential data, financial data, all that data. If they use these models and this data gets, because nobody has clear insights on how these large language models, LLMs, are using the data, right? Especially the proprietary LLMs. So there are two kind of LLMs. One are the proprietary LLMs like the GPT-4. Others are open source LLMs. So Facebook has launched, Meta has launched Llama. There is Mistral, there's Falcon, there are other versions of open source GPTs. So within the GPT world, to address this thing, there are two kinds of models which are emerging. So where proprietary LLMs are more accurate, they are trained on more bigger data sets, but bigger organizations, enterprises are adopting to having vertical LLMs for their use case. If an organization is a legal organization, they don't want their AI to know the scientific terms or maybe the coding terms. They want it to be smaller, more concise, and more available to them, and only be available to them. So what is happening to tackle these kind of concerns? People are building it on their own cloud, training the model on their own data, and using just an instance of it, which is also a possibility. So yes, every technology has pros and cons. There are workarounds around that. So yes, open source models are the most, or the proprietary LLMs are the most accurate, performance wise best as of now, but there are concerns that your data may not be secure. And the bigger the organization, they are more concerned about this kind of data, and it can have a lot of repercussions. And I guess this is the only reason where the adoption of Gen AI is not that aggressive. Otherwise, it should be like wildfire. So this is one of the barriers. Every organization need to figure out their own way of adopting Gen AI, where the data is also secure, their systems are also secure, and they're also able to harness the capabilities of Gen AI.
So, how about we talk about the future trends, which is coming in the Gen AI ecosystem? So, should businesses be prepared for that right now?
For sure, I guess if people are not prepared, they are bound to wither away with time. They need to be. And I guess this is the time where everybody, whether they come from tech background, whether they don't come from it, they should know about it. They should know the basics, they should know the terminology, and they should know the usage. So I guess there's a very famous saying, either you consume AI or AI will consume you, right? So, and it's true. So if you don't use it as a tool, maybe tomorrow AI will use you as their tool to just get some input from you, and then you are gone away. So one of the interesting use cases, which this reminds me of. So there was this Google conference which I was also part of. It was happening in US. So one of the top leaders of Google was there, and he was telling how this was back before pre GPT era, but this was already in plan. So what was happening? So they were building this model where they have a GPT kind of thing which learns from people, and they feed in a lot of images of skin disease. So basically, skin images, and they were asking AI algorithm to predict which disease is this and what should be the recommendation to the patient. So they were training the model on tens of thousands of images from all across the world of patients having various kinds of skin diseases. Now, one of the job roles or use case which emerged, they went back to 1,000 dermatologists, and they were ranking their AI in synchronization with them. So, what is the AI's output? What is the actual doctor's output? Okay, so 1,000 doctors sitting at various parts of the world are labeling it for various different diseases. So, what is happening in this case? So, this is the scenario. Now, the learning from this is what is happening. This AI is now becoming smarter by using the expertise of 1,000 doctors. Okay, and it's storing all of that. Now, tomorrow, after 5 years, getting fully trained, the same AI, they will sell it to the dermatologists and other doctors to actually help them, do the initial diagnosis. So that's how first humans train AI, and then that AI becomes an inevitable part of their life, where their operations, their day-to-day, functions can't be performed without the information which is coming from there. The same, a very similar example for this is Google Maps. When Google Maps was getting built, right, there were people who were going road to road, capturing videos, uploading that information. There was satellite imagery which was happening, and then there is synchronization. But today, you see any person, right, travel enthusiast, non-travel enthusiast, can't survive without Google Maps, right? 20 years back, the cab drivers and the people who were in driving profession, they used to remember the one of their main skills was remembering the ways or remembering the the maps. Today, everybody, Google Maps is an inevitable part, and they can't survive without Google Maps. I guess same thing is going to happen with Gen AI. Today, a lot of us are putting our intelligence to make AI more intelligent, and tomorrow AI will also use us as a tool. So it's better that we become masters of something else. We get the control so that we don't get left behind in this, and we can still be the master of the machine and not vice versa. So definitely, coming back to your question, definitely every organization today should invest in training their people, knowing about the Gen AI as well as adopting Gen AI for their use cases, whatever may be the use case.
So, we've spoken about future trends. You have also, shed some light about the ethical concerns. But there is a lot of discussions which are happening around AI leading to job displacement, which I feel is like a staple debate all throughout the day, anywhere you find in any corner of the internet. So, what jobs do you see being most effective? What new roles do you see emerge? And would you like to put an end to this debate saying that AI is not going to replace your job? Just to be fairly honest, just to add this one point, one of the jobs that probably have emerged out of this entire AI hype is prompt engineering. Even though many people and many articles are claiming that it's like a full-time job. It's gonna pay you almost like 100K dollars just to do prompt engineering and sit down. But I think people who have started using AI tools in their daily life already do prompt engineering. They are tickling with what are some of the AI prompts that I can write to avoid certain things. What are the AI points that can generate a certain thing for me? So, would like to know from you, what is your thought around this particular debate?
So I'll first give a relief or end to this debate. AI is not going to replace the jobs. AI is just going to modify your job role, right? Or shift some jobs. There will be some jobs which will become redundant and some jobs which will become more attractive. So, as I gave the crane example earlier, that now people will not need people who can dig using an axe to dig a mine from their hands, but they'll probably need people who can drive cranes. And at the same time, there will be other jobs which will be created, the manufacturers of the crane and the employees or the workers in the crane or crane manufacturing industry. So similarly, with this happens with every new technology. This happened with industrial revolution. This happened with the internet revolution. This will also happen with the AI revolution. So there will be a shift. There will be a displacement. And I also believe that the hype around prompt engineering is like overhyped. There are 10, 11 other roles which I'm aware of which can pay even better than prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is overhyped because I guess that's something which is most relatable to the people and it gives more relief to them. But there are a lot of other things which will emerge as AI advances. So I'll tell you what kind of jobs will come in the future in one part, and then how the existing jobs will transform. So as AI adoption will increase, it will also increase the demand for data centers. It will also increase the demand for energy. It will also increase the demand for infrastructure, hardware infrastructure. It will also increase the demand for chips. So all these industries, semiconductor industry, energy industry, data center industry, cloud industry, all of these are also gonna revamp and boom because of the AI adoption. So there will be lots of jobs which will be generated in these segments and sectors. Globally also, in India also. Energy sector, cloud sector, uh, semiconductor sector. Second thing is with AI systems, people are more and more AI usage will happen. There will be more jobs for other professions which will support organizations to adopt this. For example, there will be a new stream of people will be coming who are AI lawyers or AI legal people who know the nuances of the AI and data and are in legal profession. So there'll be a lot of new openings with where every company adopting AI tomorrow will require an AI lawyer or an AI legal person who understands the nuances. Then other roles which will come uh, within the organization, every organization will want to research how they can use AI because AI is a big brain. How you use that big brain, it's like it's a pile of gold. How you use gold, that role still remains. With more and more better gold coming, the goldsmith's job doesn't end. He has to innovate. He or she has to innovate. So, with AI offering a lot of possibilities, organizations will always need those strategy mindset people, those problem solving mindset people who can map, who can find the missing pieces of the puzzle, who can map a problem to a solution. And I guess that will be the most highly paying job role. So an organization, and typically pre-AI era, these job roles were restricted to very senior management or CEO level. But I guess with Gen AI, at every level in a particular organization, these problem-solving things will start happening at a wider scale, and organizations will require people with high problem-solving capability, high cognitive ability, high, faster learning capability because technologies will keep changing. Every 6 months, a new technology will come in. It won't replace humans, it will just enhance humans. But humans need to be strong to their fundamental skills, which is analyzing, which is creativity, which is problem solving, which is finding innovative ways of mitigating a situation, which AI can't still do. AI has capabilities, but AI doesn't know how to use it. We know the business better, we know the needs better, we know the consumers better, so we can. So the kind of people will be required in future are the ones who understand AI and understand business nuances and can match them and find a win-win situation for the market, for the consumer, for the business. And yeah, so the future is really, really exciting. The boring and the mundane tasks which humans were kind of forced to perform, or they made it their routine job role, those will definitely go away.
We have spoken about the different consequences that the entire debate of AI replacing people's job. What are some of the other skills would you like advise professionals to focus on while developing to stay relevant in this AI driven future? Because everybody keeps on saying that AI is not going to replace you, because I think this is another proposition, much like to the debate. And people also advocate for the fact that AI is not going to replace you, but AI is going to replace you with the person who uses AI.
True.
So in that scenario, what can I better do to pick up certain skills that that's going to help me focus on staying relevant?
Interesting. So let's focus on first principles and answer this question from first principles point of view. So see what all goes in creating an AI model, and then I'm a professional. I'm not giving the answer. I'm giving a framework for someone to get an answer what they can get skilled at. So what goes in creating an AI model? There are three things. If I tell, one is the data. Okay. Two is the algorithm, the technology, and three is the infrastructure. We'll go one by one. Within data, there are different roles which are coming up, and there are different skills which are required to prepare AI models. I'm going in the more technical side of it, when what kind of job roles will emerge and what kind of skills someone need to thrive in this AI era, right? So on the data side, see, data is the fuel, data is the oil. Without data, all these algorithms are useless. GPT-3, GPT-4 is better than GPT-3. One, because of more parameters and all, but majorly because it has been trained on more data and more quality data and more current data, right? That's why everybody upgraded. So the jobs which require data labeling, data annotation, data preparation, data set curation, and data analysis are still going to stay, because for the next 10 years, AI, to make AI more smarter, you will still require a lot of intelligent humans. Why I'm saying next 10 years? Because beyond that we don't know that AI becomes that much self-sufficient, but for the next 10 years, definitely this data annotation, data engineering, data set preparation, this role becomes much more smarter. Rather than just a clerical work, it has become an intellectual role. So anything related to preparing that input data for AI, integrating that AI with the current databases, vector databases are coming. So any skills in these definitely are going to pay you in the long run. Second is the models, the algorithms. Now here, people who are already having, if I talk about developers, if they earlier used to bet on MERN stack, mean stack, or regular development jobs, and I believe that will become less attractive going ahead, because a lot of website development, app development, software development, regular DevOps tasks, the AI is capable of doing, right? What they can focus on is how they can integrate LLM models, how they can work on LLM models and generate better use cases for organizations. And people need to be conversant with applying technology. They don't need to understand the thing in that detail how foundation models work, but they should understand how they can utilize it for the problem statement thrown at them. So problem solving skills, uh, computer fundamentals, programming fundamentals still will be very attractive. If they merge it, they upgrade it very fast to applying AI as a use case. Okay, infrastructure. So second is this algorithms, the models. So algorithm design engineers, machine learning engineers, they just need to upgrade themselves from basic Python. Now they need to understand how these LLMs work, how they can be adopted, and how they can be deployed. And I guess it's better more than theoretical knowledge. The techies should actually do hands-on thing and apply these models for various use cases. So I see these models. Another quick analogy I would like to give: I see these models, these LLM models, large language models like GPT, as alphabets. Okay, alphabets of a language. Now you have 26 alphabets, but basis that a writer, a poet, an actor, a movie creator can create lot of content, lot of use cases. You and a good movie writer would know the same language, the same alphabets, but how they use them to create something meaningful their audience, that becomes the key. So not inventing the language, but using that language to create something meaningful for your audience. I guess that is the kind of roles and skills which will emerge in the future. So a software developer, a machine learning engineer would now need to look at the business perspective as well, because everybody has access to those models. So their advantage goes away if they only know technology. If they understand the consumer, if they understand the business, if they understand the problem statement, and can map their already existing knowledge and already existing models to solve that problem and implement it very fast. I guess that is the skill which everybody will require, whether they want to become an entrepreneur, whether they want to become a high paying developer, or whether they want to stay relevant as a superstar in the AI era.
Harneet, help us understand the different challenges of integrating generative AI into our existing business models. I think integration still remains a very hard crack, nut to crack. So, how about generative AI's seamless integration with other business tools? Would you shed some light on some real scenario?
So I guess this is an area where I extensively work and my organization extensively work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies in helping them mitigate this challenge. So the biggest challenge is the non-availability of data in the right format in order to harness the capability of Gen AI. So as an organization, you look at any big organization, any MNC which has data in various countries, various cities, they're currently using various tools. There's a lot of data which is generated, but that data is not in that format which an AI can grasp and make sense out of it, right? So I guess having the data in the right format, having intelligent data for your AI, if you don't have right data, proprietary data in the right format so that AI can process it, that Gen AI will not be of much use to you. It won't be integrated, then it will just be a standalone solution. So I'll give a real example. We were working with a big university, one of the Ivy League universities in the US, to streamline their digital library. Okay, that's one of the projects we are right now working on. Now, this Ivy League university has so much information in digital format that is already there. So they want to build an AI, intelligent AI model where a student can come and ask questions about any subject, right? And from all the information available in their library, they have some proprietary research papers. They have, access to world's who's who, right? World's best information, and they want to enable that someone can ask it in a chatbot format and they can answer it. So so what they want is a chat GPT for themselves, for based on trained on their data, which needs to be owned by them and which can be used by the people by whom they give access to, by researchers, by their students, by other fraternity in the research community. That was the problem statement. Now, Gen AI models already exist who can do that. Integrating this Gen AI only had a problem that how to convert this data in that format where an AI can actually read it, understand it, and make it meaningful for other for the consumers, for the people who are coming to use it. So this is where there's a thing called as vector databases. which is emerging. AI can go through vector databases and give you the most relevant answer basis whatever the information is already provided and what natural language they understand. So they do a combination of both. So this is one challenge, and I give a real example of how it can be solved through data annotation practices. So there are a lot of companies globally who are helping companies streamline this data. So lately, we also got one request from one of the big Korean giants. So they were building an autonomous maritime driving system. Okay, so their navy wants to use an autonomous system for driving ships, but their AI needs to be trained on lots of ships images, lots of sea. When you are traveling through a sea, there are lots of nuances. So you need a lot of images so that your model can be trained on that, so that it can assist the captain in navigating through that. So the availability of data becomes a challenge that kind of slows this integration. Another, so this is the one bigger thing, and data annotation. The companies who are coming for making data more relevant, data more clean. This is a big opportunity. So this will require a lot of time and human intervention, which is happening. Another challenge is the AI is not trained or made for my industry. That challenge, right? So, for example, there is let's say if it is healthcare industry, so you can't actually just rely on AI's recommendation, and you can't definitely rely on other open source LLMs. So if a hospital or a healthcare research organization, they want to use it, they have to train their models in house, and they need that kind of talent as well. So this non-availability, first one was non-availability of data, second one is non-availability of talent. There is a talent shortage. People who can customize these, fine-tune these for business use cases. So that is also another problem in the integration, which a lot of organizations are solving by supplying the AI talent to the world. And third is also cost and infrastructure. Today, this is very expensive. As an organization, there are some things which an Excel can do better than a chat GPT, I'll tell you. A Google Sheets can do better than a chat GPT. If you ask chat GPT to do the same thing, if I give you real numbers example for more, let's say you ask Excel to calculate the salaries of all your employees. Okay, whatever computation power Excel takes for that, you ask the same thing to a GPT model. Same thing, they'll consume at least 20 times more power to do the same thing.
So inefficiency is a concern.
Yeah. So you should not be using AI. It's like you have a big brain, so you should not be using an Einstein to probably do a stuff which does not require that much intelligence. So that is also a concern. You should not use AI everywhere. Doesn't mean that if gold is available, you'll also have gold plates, gold glass. No, right? Just use it for jewelry purpose. So availability is not a problem, but the cost, the infrastructure required is again a challenge. So that is where these are the problems which I guess the industry is trying to solve. We are also part of that ecosystem where we are trying to solve some of these problems, because we also need to look at the environment. Final thing is how much carbon footprint it is generating. So it is like so I was reading a study that currently in 2023 itself, the amount of power only GPT models and data centers who are hosting these models have used is equivalent to a country in South America. So someone like a Costa Rica, Guatemala, these kind of countries, the whole country consumes this much power in a year, and the data centers who are powering these GPT models, they are consuming this much power. So I guess, and it's equivalent to I guess 100 million households in US. How much power they are consuming? The data centers who are hosting these AI models in just 1 year, 2023, they have consumed that much power, a little bit more than that as well.
many developers have started contributing to open source projects to further their skill sets, to understand how these real time models are working, and how to basically get their hands dirty in the field of development. So, when we're speaking about Gen AI, please give us two share of perspectives. One for developers, where where are the open source projects situated, and which are the open source projects that they can go ahead and contribute to. And the second is, in spite of a person, a developer or not being a developer, how can they better utilize generative AI in their day-to-day life? And what are some of the guidelines should they be following? As an instance.
Okay. Okay. So I'll take the second part first, how someone can utilize AI more effectively. I guess there are a lot of cheat sheets available online where you can act in a certain manner, where you can ask an AI tool to act in a certain manner, think from that perspective, and give you an answer. For example, and that's part of prompt engineering. For example, you can ask the AI to act as a consultant at McKinsey and look at this problem, and you can I have used this prompt. You say that you have to present to a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, and you need to tell them the nuances of their business, and you have to act like a McKinsey consultant, and then analyze the situation and give me this answer which will help me make the CEO understand this problem, right? So basically, fine tuning and getting better at using AI tools by learning prompt engineering can be something which can be for everyone. How they can make the best use of prompt engineering to get the work done through AI. Coming back to the developers, where they can focus. So open source. So Hugging Face, I guess, is the biggest marketplace. Hugging Face, they can go and browse lots of open source models. If we say the open other models, there is Llama, there's GPT Turbo, there is GPT 4.0, which has been launched recently. I guess 2 days before it has been launched by OpenAI. There's Mistral, Falcon, these kind of models which have been adopted by a lot of companies, and they're using these open source models and then training and fine tuning on it. So developers can definitely go and keep up to date. GitHub is also a source, right? And these are the areas where, yeah, I guess one another quick tip would be, then don't focus on theory, go and get your hands on these AI models, right? So if you apply to a Google Cloud or an Amazon, you get some free credits. You can use that, and don't try it on your own system. So that's also a question. A lot of people in our company, they have got their systems hanged and badly managed by deploying it locally. So it consumes a lot of. If you have less than 24 GB RAM, don't try it on your local systems, but go and do it on cloud. Get a cloud instance, develop a model, deploy a model, fine tune it, do something about it, whatever use cases, and learn by doing. In the world of AI, you can't learn by reading. Learn by doing, and when your AI will show results, I guess that can also, for developers, it can also act as the resume. Their AI model, fine-tuned model, can act as a resume, a skill directory for them to showcase it to the recruiters, and they'll never be in search of jobs. Jobs will come hunting them. So,
Got it. And how about the next part of the question? Like, for any layman, how better to think about AI? Like at the end of the day, after getting so much information about what AI is, what are the consequences of AI, what are the ethical concerns, what are the misconceptions, at the end of the day, what is a TLDR we can get for generative AI? Should we use it? Should we not use it? How frequently use it? Give us an understanding of that.
yeah. So I guess the I will flip the conversation. So you should not look at it whether you use the Gen AI or not use the Gen AI. So it's equivalent to saying, I have a car standing in my house. Should I use the car or should I not use the car? Should I drive it, not drive it? How many times I drive it? So if you base it on that assumption, or that if that is your lens of looking at it, it'll be flawed. And this is true. Like you brought this up, this is what it is happening. People are only looking at the car. So rather, people should look at their particular use case, at what is it they want to achieve, and then map it where I can get help. Right? For example, if yesterday I am a content writer, let's say I am a journalist, I have two junior journalists who will do the research for me, who will go to Google, compile the data, prepare a first draft for me. So my thing is, I prepare the final draft. I am a senior journalist in this example. So rather than using those two people, I can use ChatGPT or Bard as my soundboard. I can ask it to give me some ideas by giving it some prompts, and it can give me a first draft. So you should look at your use case. Or let's say you are a podcast hoster, right? You want to market your podcast, and you want to look at how the world's best are marketing their podcast. So rather than you yourself going and probably sitting for 5 hours and going through all those videos, you go to a tool, give it a prompt of 10 best videos, and ask it to summarize every video in less than 2 minutes. And within 20 minutes, you get the output of those 4 or 5 hours. So I guess the perspective should be what I want to achieve and what is my problem statement, and then figuring out whether an AI exists for it or not. Right? So if people look at that way, I guess it solves the problems. If your fundamentals, if your thinking process is very clear that my problem I want to solve it, whether by humans or by existing processes or by a new Gen AI tool, I need to solve my problem.
Got it. I think perspective at the end of the day, whether you utilize that using AI or for any other matter, significantly changes the question. I mean, today, of course, understand that just because of the hype of AI, we are having this discussion. But let's say web development was hyped. So we would use that. How do I use web development? It is not the case. First, I need to understand, does my business even require,
Correct.
require a website in the first place? Thank you so much, Harneet, for giving us, your insightful perspective on generative AI. It was very helpful for somebody to even get a very short masterclass as to what generative AI is, why to use them, the history, where to use them, and where to find further resources. So thank you for it. And it was lovely having a conversation with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was nice speaking to you.